You're listening to the Play Therapy Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks, your source for centered and focused play therapy coaching.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brenna Hicks, the Kid Counselor. This is the Play Therapy Podcast where you get a masterclass in child-centered play therapy and practical support and application for your work with children and their families. In today's episode, I am answering a question from Melissa in Colorado. And her question is about when and how to tell kids and their parents that you are going on vacation or you're going on maternity leave, any kind of leave of absence from the office, how to handle that discussion. And she was asking for some guidance and tips. So we're going to dive into that. Couple of housekeeping scenarios. Please, if you are in Australia, make sure that you sign up for the APPTA conference. It's coming up in 2 weeks, give or take. So make sure that you get yourself signed up for that. Also, I'm doing a meet and greet while we're there, a podcast meetup. So if you would like to participate in that and you are attending the conference, please go to playtherapypodcast.com/meetup and you can get signed up for that. It's free. It's just so that we know how many people are coming. Alrighty. So let's dive into this. And the email was actually quite short, so I really kind of already covered it, but I'll read a little bit of it. I'm wondering when and how you tell kids and parents that you'll be going on maternity leave or vacation that is more than 1 week. I would love any tips that you have. So Melissa, thank you in Colorado for listening. Thanks for reaching out. By the way, if you are a new listener to the podcast, we're so glad you're here. Welcome. And to celebrate with you all, I want to let you know, we just crossed the 400,000 download mark yesterday. So congrats to all of you. Pat yourselves on the back, give yourself a high five, whatever you need to do to acknowledge your commitment to CCPT across the world. Really, really excited about that. When we hit 500,000, we're going to do something big. I don't know what that looks like, but we hit 300,000 not too long ago. So I feel like it's actually going to come quicker than I think. So I better get brainstorming. If you have an idea, oh my gosh, if you all are like avid podcast listeners to other people, I know you're avid podcast listeners to me. If you listen to other people and you have ideas that you've seen or heard that people have done when they kind of hit milestones in the podcast, shoot me an email. I'd love to know what your thoughts are because I'm not a podcast listener. I know, shame on me, but I'm not. So let me know if you have an idea what we can do for the 500,000th download. That's a big deal. So let me know, Brenna at thekidcounselor.com. You can also send me questions for the podcast if you want to do that as well. Or you can just say hello, or you can shoot me a picture of your dog. I don't care. I like to hear from y'all. So reach out, Brenna at thekidcounselor.com. Now I'm literally, I should not have said that. My inbox is going to be flooded with pictures of dogs now, but it's okay. All right. So Melissa in Colorado, thank you for this. So here are my thoughts. You're kind of asking two separate questions and I want to handle them a little bit differently. So the maternity leave scenario is different than vacation. And here are my thoughts on vacation first, because that's obviously going to be a shorter skip in amount of time, and therefore we can handle it a little bit differently. So the week before you go on vacation, in other words, the final session that you're going to have with the child before you go on vacation, at the end of the session, you let child know first. So typically parent is already there because you would assume you'd be in the lobby at that point. So parent is probably going to overhear, but you always start with the child first. So you get down on their eye level. If that means you bend over, you squat, you kneel, whatever you have to do, you get down on the child's level and you just very clearly and concisely say, I wanted to let you know I'm going on vacation next week, so I won't play with you next Wednesday or whatever their normal day is, but I will see you the week after, and then I'll be able to tell you all about what I did when I was gone. So it's just that simple. I won't see you next week because I'm going on vacation, but I'll be able to tell you about it when I come back and I'll see you the following week. So as long as they understand that they're skipping a week, taking a week off, and why, that eliminates any confusion. It makes it easy for the child to understand. If they ask questions, you can answer them. Sometimes they say, where are you going? Are you going on an airplane? What are you going to do? Are you going to take pictures? So sometimes they're curious and you can engage in that conversation. But other times they just go, okay. And then other times they go, oh. And then you reflect, oh, you really wish that you could see me next week, but we're only going to take 1 week off and then I'll get to play with you the Wednesday after that. So you just make it really clear. Now, if mom and dad were not present for that conversation, then you make sure as you say goodbye to mom and dad that you let them know, hey, I just wanted to let you know I won't be here next week because I'm going on vacation, so we'll skip a week. But you always make sure that you share that with the child first because your allegiance is to the child, first and foremost. Okay, maternity leave, a little bit of a different scenario. So most often, maternity leave is going to be at least 6 weeks. My therapists have gone on maternity leave for 3 months. So I understand that that's a much longer break. So we handle it a little bit differently. As soon as you are about 5 weeks out from your maternity leave, that's when you want to inform parents. And that's when you want to inform children because you are essentially going to do a pseudo-termination. In other words, if you're going to be gone for 6 weeks or more, the child is going to interpret that as an eternity. So even if they're going to wait for you, and many people will, some will drop off and not come back. And that's just the nature of taking a longer extended break. Some will wait for you, but in either scenario, you want to have a proper termination process, even if it's just for maternity leave and they'll return. So you might not do to the extent that you would normally do the termination, meaning the giveaways and the certificate and all of that stuff, but you still want to do the countdown and you still want to help the child process the fact that you are going to be taking a break. So that conversation is a little bit different. So I'm not going to be working for a little bit after I have the baby, but when I am, 6 weeks after having the baby or 8 weeks after having the baby, I'm going to come back. So I'll get to play with you in X number of weeks. But that is after you've already done the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. So that conversation is, so I'm going to be having a baby soon. So I'm going to see you 5 more times and we're going to play together 5 more times before I take a break to stay home with the baby after the baby's born. And then you do the same thing for the 4 week, the 3 week, the 2 week, and the 1 week mark. Then you have your final session. It's a termination of sorts, even if they intend to come back. And you let them know that you will reach back out as soon as you're able to play with them again. And then that will reset so that when they come back, they, still have the relationship, but they're kind of building up the momentum again. And it's really important that you let the child know why every time you're going to take a break. So if it's a vacation, if it's a surgery, even if you're sick, if you are going on maternity leave, whatever the scenario is, the child needs to know why you're not going to be there. That's really important because that preserves the relationship and the trust. And you want the child to hear it first. You never want child to hear it from a parent or caregiver. You want them to hear it directly from you because that preserves the relationship and the trust and the bond that has been built. So I hope that is helpful to all of you because we inevitably go on trips. We take vacations. We sometimes have medical procedures or someone in our family has medical procedures and we become a caregiver for, a week or so for them. And it's always important that we handle that appropriately. We just want to make sure that expectations are clear. That is the most important thing. Kids can handle anything as long as they know what the expectations are. So we want to be really clear and concise when we give the explanation and the expectations, and then we are able to take that break and start right back up again. All right, Melissa in Colorado, thank you so much for the question, and I really appreciate you all reaching out with the things that you're wondering about and curious about. As always, I love y'all. Have a great week. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Play Therapy Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks. For more episodes and resources, please go to www.playtherapypodcast.com.